the picture of the turkey during the Conservative years was a big, plump, beautiful bird, whereas right now it's a skimpy, shrimpy little thing that looks like it's been taxed to death. Mr. Speaker, why won't they get off the back of the turkey so that we can have a nice dinner for Thanksgiving?
Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everyone. I'm Cypher.
And I'm Fox. We're back to question period today, where Pierre had to deal with an undersized turkey and Philippe Champagne had to deal with shrinkage. His words, not ours.
Let's get into it.
8 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the cost of food. For example, the price of turkey is up at Loblaws by 67% after 8 years of this Prime Minister's carbon taxes. And all they offered, since they promised to bring prices down by Thanksgiving, is a code of conduct, an office, and a photo op. You can't eat any of those three things. They won't be on the Thanksgiving dinner table. So what will they do in the next 4 days to reverse the 67% increase in the cost of a turkey at Loblaws, just like they promised they would, Mr. Speaker?
L'honorable Ministre.
Mr. Speaker, we will take no lessons from this Conservative, Mr. Speaker. The last time that the Conservatives, the leader, Mr. Speaker, advised Canadians was to buy crypto, Mr. Speaker, and now he's suggesting to Canadians to buy a turkey at $120. I found a butterball for him, Mr. Speaker, $30.
Does anyone else get tired of the Chihuahua that stands up at the Liberals? Like, Philippe Champagne is literally the equivalent of the Liberal Chihuahua. He's this tiny guy, and he screams at the top of his lungs, and he doesn't even speak well. Like, I think he's legit trying to lobby to be the next in line for Trudeau's job, but Jesus, like, someone help the Conservatives if he ends up getting the job. And for a turkey, yes, that's what you got from it. Pierre is advising everyone to buy a $120 turkey. What Pierre is saying is, for a family of 4, that's probably the size of turkey you're going to get. And we've seen people in our comments say, yeah, that's what it cost me to actually buy a frickin' turkey this year.
And again, they're harping on the crypto thing. Again, you guys know how much I hate this because it's so not true. So I dug up the quote from CBC, which says, this is exactly what Pierre said, by the way. Government is ruining the Canadian dollar, so Canadians should have the freedom to use other money such as Bitcoin. End quote. That's it. He didn't say, go invest in Bitcoin because the government's ruining the dollar. No, he said they should have the freedom to use Bitcoin if they want to. That's not exactly investment advice.
You know the Liberals have nothing on Pierre when they literally have to make stuff up.
The Honourable Minister.
Shopping for the leader of the opposition to help him. But Mr. Speaker, if they want to do something for Canadian, not just asking questions, but do something, vote for FISA's C56, Mr. Speaker. It's going to help Canadians. It's going to stabilize price in Canada. And it's going to bring competition in this country. That's what we need. It's for them to act, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Fast that Canadians didn't want champagne for Thanksgiving. They just want some food. And I did a little bit of price shopping on that for him. In the last days of the Conservative government, the price for a pound of turkey was $1.49. And the flyers today show it's $2.49, a 70% increase. And I might add that the picture of the turkey during the Conservative years was a big, plump, beautiful bird, whereas right now it's a skimpy, shrimpy little thing that looks like it's been taxed to death. Mr. Speaker, why won't they get off the back of the turkey so that we can have a nice dinner for Thanksgiving?
Oh my God. If nobody caught on that was a critique on the appearance of Philippe Champagne, I cannot help you.
He packed so many zingers into that like 35-second critique. Like it was incredible. So he said he did a play on words with Champagne's name, saying that Canadians don't want champagne for Thanksgiving dinner. You know, you could use that either way, the actual beverage or the minister. And then he was describing this turkey.
Yeah, like, you know, they don't want some shrimpy, gimpy, flaccid turkey that looks like it's been taxed to death. Like, I'm not going to be able to look at Philippe Champagne the same way ever again. He's just going to be the flaccid turkey now. Oh, my God.
L'honorable ministre.
Speaker, the leader of the opposition can have as much as he wants, but one thing I can tell you, Canadians have no fun these days, Mr. Speaker, because they know, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, Champagne, you do not debate the master. You just literally played into what the Conservatives have been saying for the last couple of years. You just said the Canadians are not having fun these days. And the Conservatives are saying, yes, absolutely, they're not having fun these days.
Yeah, and it's your fault.
It's your stupid government. It's your stupid government is why we're not having fun these days. Like, oh my God, he just walked right into that. Ugh.
Settle down. À l'ordre. L'honorable ministre.
The Honourable Minister. 23 seconds left.
Mr. Speaker, I hope that I have as much energy to support our bill, Mr. Speaker, to make a difference in the life of Canadians. Because, Mr. Speaker, this is not a joke, Mr. Speaker. Canadians expect action. That's what we've taken this morning with a 5-item action plan to help stabilize pricing in Canada. And if the Conservatives want to keep laughing and make jokes, Mr. Speaker, tell that to Canadians, which expect them to approve Bill 66, reform competition, more lower prices in Canada, and make sure that Canadians can have what they deserve from the situation.
Wow. I hope he doesn't butcher a turkey the way he speaks, because he just butchered that whole mini speech that he tried to make there. He didn't even know what he was saying by the end. But this is what Pierre does to people. You know, Pierre's job is to get under the skin of the Liberal government, hold them to account, and expose the absurdity that they keep throwing at Canadians. C56, as we've said over and over again, will not bring down prices. It has nothing to do with that. Now, today, they announced through Champagne that there's going to be some sort of plan to stabilize pricing, and he also said that prices will come down at some point. Now, I find that interesting, and it wouldn't surprise me. I said this to Fox earlier. It wouldn't surprise me if the way they get grocery stores to bring down prices is by giving them subsidies.
Yeah, at this point, anything can happen.
And then they can say, see, we brought down prices.
Yeah, it would not surprise me. Like, it's horrible and it's disgusting and it's what would you say? It's
right up Liberal alley.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
That's it.
So they would be literally taking our tax dollars and giving the grocery store subsidies. The grocery stores would be making the same amount of money, and they could lower the prices of groceries across the board. And then the Liberals would say, see, the Liberals have your back. We reduced prices. Even though what that really means is they're driving up more interest rates because they're borrowing more money to do it. It would not surprise me at all. We're not saying that this is factually happening. It just wouldn't surprise me to see it happen.
Yeah, this is just wild speculation on our part. But, you know, at this point in the game, There's no surprises anymore.
Anything's possible with the Liberals.
Minister accidentally told the truth there for a second. He said Canadians aren't having any fun, and he's got that right, because after 8 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the cost. He says we should energetically support his bills. Well, he's been forcing, and his Prime Minister has been forcing Canadians to support Liberal bills for 8 years, and the bill is way too high. Food prices are up more than 20% in 2 years, the fastest increase in interest rates in monetary history. Why won't they stop sending Canadians the bill and let Canadians afford to eat, heat, and house themselves this Thanksgiving?
L'honorable ministre.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the leader of the opposition. He's coming actually to some sense. He realized that the best way to help Canadians is to support the government, Mr. Speaker, because this is a time when all parliamentarians needs to come together, Mr. Speaker. That's why we presented a plan that's going to help to stabilize prices in Canada, that's going to increase competition in this country, and it's going to take measures to help Canadians. Mr. Speaker, if he wants to give a gift to Canadians for Thanksgiving, why don't he support C-56 and show Canadians that he can do something for them?
I don't think his translator was working. So, look at the difference, everyone. So, Pierre takes something that Champagne says and, like, on a dime, turns it into a limerick. And then flips it right around, uses the alliteration to prove his point. And it's seamless, right? Because Champagne's like, you need to support the bill. You need to support the bill. And then Pierre takes that and says, yeah, you've been sending Canadians bills for the last 8 years, and the bill is too high. Relates it back to the new slogan, the Prime Minister isn't worth the cost. So it's very seamless. And then Champagne's response to that is, oh, the Conservative leader is finally showing some sense that he wants to support a bill. No.
Yeah, Pierre's quick on his feet. He's very witty, and Champagne definitely doesn't measure up.
Oh, nice pun. Nice pun.
Thank you.
L'honorable député de Dufferin-Caledon.
This will not be a happy Thanksgiving for many Canadian families because food prices are absolutely out of control. And the NDP leader just said that food inflation has outpaced inflation over the last 20 months, which is coincidentally the length of the Liberal NDP coalition. What could be happening, Mr. Speaker? But the sad fact is this: Canadian families are going to have to make the hard choice: feed their family or pay their rent. Will the Prime Minister finally recognize the damage he's done to Canada, keep his promise so they have an affordable Thanksgiving dinner?
Here, here, here. L'honorable secrétaire parlementaire.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Et comme je dis...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as I said, we're taking concrete steps. They're on the table right here in the House. And I don't understand how the Conservatives can pretend to be sincere about their concern for Canadians while at the same time they're using procedural tactics to try to prevent us from helping Canadians. Mr. Speaker, it's beyond me. If the Conservatives want to be there for Canadians, well, they should pull up their socks and get down to work and help us help Canadians.
Well, they tried to do that yesterday with repealing the carbon tax, but you didn't want to do that. One of your MPs did. Maybe you should follow the Liberal example in that case. How about that? And I love the argument that the Conservative used against the NDP, saying that, you know, the last couple of years, food inflation has outpaced the market inflation, and coincidentally, that is the exact same period as this NDP Liberal coalition.
Well, that's what you get when you implement socialist values in a capitalist society.
Yeah, you get massive inflation because they know how to spend money, but that's it. This is the thing, okay? And this is what really, really annoys and frustrates people that understand how money works. Would all of us love to have your dentistry free, your eye care free, your pharmaceuticals free, all of your health care needs free. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, it would be nice. Free university, free school, everything would be free. That would be amazing. But that's where the thinking of the Liberals and the NDP stops. What comes after that is what the Conservatives wrestle with because they have to. How do you pay for that? And the answer is you can't. You cannot give all of that for free to any society because there's not going to be enough money generated from that society to fund all of it.
Well, and that's the thing I think people forget is that things provided by the government are not free. They are not government money either. It comes from taxpayer money. So when you're getting something quote unquote free from the government, it's coming from the person beside you, the person down the street, the person in the next city over. It's coming from the people around you. And
if they don't use taxpayer money to fund it, guess where that money comes from? The Bank of Canada. It's printed money. And then what happens?
We all pay for it with high interest rates and high inflation.
And there you go. So one way or another, you're paying for it. So when the Liberals say, oh, well, you know, why were the Canadian or why were the Conservatives against $10 a day childcare? Why were the Conservatives against the dental plan? Well, the Liberals were against the dental plan, but why were the Conservatives against all of these, you know, initiatives to help Canadians? Because you shouldn't be in that position to help Canadians in the first place. And even if you are, which the Conservatives will be, they will be having to deal with your budgetary disaster when they get into government. The way they will help Canadians is not by printing more money and giving it to them. It will be by first balancing the budget. And guess what that means, Canadians? Yes, there's going to be cuts. There will be cuts. Because we can't afford it. It's not sustainable.
A good government doesn't give its citizens handouts. It creates the economic conditions for the citizens to do their own work and make their own way in life.
I guarantee you the first thing that the Conservatives are going to cut, unless they make a deal with the NDP to topple this government, is they're going to cut the dental plan. That's going to be number one first to go. Second, they're going to cut the carbon tax. Third, they're going to cut all of the money that is given to the municipalities. Those are going to be the top three things that they're going to cut. And that may just zero itself out, because the carbon tax brings money into the government. Now, some people will say, well, that's going to affect all the green projects. Maybe. Maybe those still need to be funded. And if those still need to be funded, well, guess what? Then they'll have to cut somewhere else. Like, it is what it is. The Liberals and the NDP seem to think that, well, you can just run indefinite deficit budgets at 40, 60, 80, $100 billion a year. You can't. You cannot.
This is what happens when they do that. We all suffer under increased inflation and increased interest rates.
And then they put in all of these government programs, and all it leads to is overspending, high interest, and high taxes.
Well, and it's all bureaucracy. Look, they increased the government workers by, what was it, 30%?
30%, 100,000 people.
And are we getting better services?
We're getting less service, which is the amazing part about it. So, no, this doesn't work. So, be prepared for all the Liberals to say is, oh, the Conservatives are going to cut. The Conservatives are going to cut. When there's an election, that's all they're going to be repeating. And they're going to be deciding what the cuts are before the Conservatives even get into office. They're going to say, oh, they're going to be cutting seniors' pensions plans. They're going to be cutting $10 a day childcare. They're going to be cutting all this stuff. Maybe. But here's the thing, Liberals. You wouldn't have put them in that position in the first place if you didn't turn the budget into a weekend at Vegas.